Hey guys, my name is Eric, and today I have a message about all of us who are prepared for the end. Go ahead and roll the intro. Hey guys, thanks for checking out another HatchetCast episode, and today I'm going to be talking about essentially a rant and an extremely important message for all of us who train and are trying to be ready for what comes, because the future is not looking good. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe the video. Share this video also with a friend that you believe would get something out of it. That's a great way to help the channel. It's a free way to help out the channel. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, come train with us. I wanted to talk to you guys about the current state that we are in the world. We are living in unprecedented times. We've never been closer to an atomic conflict. We are literally closer to midnight than we've ever been, surpassing even the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have global leaders who are saying the word nuclear quite a bit in threats against each other, and there's nobody trying to talk anything down. We have world powers that are talking about World War III. We have presidents, like ones in Europe, that are literally talking about 3 months till there's a third world war. There's rumors and movies about civil war happening in our own country, here in the United States. There's also talk about how the border being so open and so porous is going to be another portion of the downfall of our nation. There's talks about murders on the rise. There's talks about natural disasters that are on the rise. There's all these different types of things that are happening. The dollar is crashing. The petrodollar contract is done. The petrodollar contract has been in place for 50 years, and now that is no longer going to be the case. Our economy is on the brink of collapse. And I think that all of these things right now is the calm before the storm. If you're looking for a time to get your family ready, now is the time. If I could plead with you to just prepare your family, whether that's through training, whether that's through spending quality time with each other, you're not promised tomorrow, and also prepping your food and your emergency plans and all of these different types of things. I truly believe we are in the final days of society as we know it. And what will come out of the ashes of what happens after the events that happen possibly this year will change human history forever. We are about to go into the next stage of human existence. And so this is something that's been weighing super heavy on me. There is a story in the Bible about Joseph, and he was the man who had the coat of many colors, and he was put in charge of a province in Egypt. And he was actually, I think, the second most powerful man in Egypt at the time. And God had told him that there was a famine coming. And he used his wisdom to be able to stock up the storehouses with grain and food and all of these things. There was several years of plenty that was going to be on Egypt because there was a famine coming. So he used that time during the times of plenty to prepare. And when the time of famine came, Egypt was ready, and the people did not starve. In fact, there was other countries coming to Egypt to buy food because they were starving. Understand that there are tough times ahead of us. We're all in tough times now, to include myself. We're going through times of turmoil, of economic stress, of jobs just not paying enough or not being able to find jobs. And if I could recommend to you things that I'm doing myself, it would be to go and get training, go and train yourself and sharpen your sword, go and make sure that you are capable, and not just train yourself, but train your family members. Go to take classes, take that information from the class and spread it to your family members and your friends and your community. Start working together and developing a communications plan about how you're going to communicate when things go down, or how you're going to power electrical items whenever the grid goes down. How are you going to preserve food? Do you have enough food? And I think one of the most important things also is spending that quality time with your family. We are not promised tomorrow. And also, even in the end times, if we want to call it that, we are still called to live in the moment, live in today. Now, I hear a lot of people that say, hey, you know, I'm going to prepare for myself, I'm good, and if anybody comes, you know, you're on your own. If you are a prepper and, you know, I'm just going to come and take your stuff. I hear that all the time on the internet, all of this negativity and all of these things, and it's going to come down to people who are believers and followers in Jesus, who have a caller to a higher moral standing. It's going to be on you, it's going to be on us to be able to have a sense of morality when all government systems fail, law and order is gone, the rule of law is absent, and it's going to be upon us to be able to still hold that moral standard, to still be able to look out for the weak, to feed the hungry, to protect those who are vulnerable. And so what I'm telling you is to train, and also train your heart and your spirit above all. Start looking at, if there's things that collapse and things happen, look at it as an opportunity to be able to help so many different people that are going to be in need. So many people that are going to be dealing with no hope. There is going to be so much hopelessness, and hope will be a very rare commodity. Comfort will be almost non-existent. And that is where people who are caring, who have moral guideline in the Bible, that are going to be able to make an impact, to make a difference, to people who have a strong conscience, an answer to Jesus himself about that is their rule of law, that is our rule of law. And there are going to be so many people who are going to need hope, protection, food, and security. And most of all, that hope is going to come from Jesus. And so I want to read to you guys some passages in the New Testament. And right now, even now, like, hope is a hard thing. I've never seen so much depression. I've never seen so much hopelessness and anxiety than I have seen right now in our society and amongst all the people I know in my life, and to include here in the Barrel Hatchet community. People are dealing with some of the most tough things that life can throw at them. Dealing with loss of jobs, dealing with loss of family members. Just look at the prayer request comment box. Like, just look at it and go there and start praying for people who are struggling within our own community, within the Barrel Hatchet community. And so I want to read to you from Luke chapter 21, and this is in verse 5. And some of his disciples were remarking about how the temple was adorned with beautiful stones and with gifts dedicated to God. But Jesus said, "As for what you see here, the time will come when not one stone will be left on another. Every one of them will be thrown down." "Teacher," they asked, "then when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that they are about to take place?" And he replied, "Watch out that you are not deceived. For many will come in my name, claiming I am he. The time is near. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, famines, pestilences in various places, and fearful events, and great signs from the heavens. But before all this, they will seize you, the believer, the Christian, and persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and put you in prison, and you will be brought before kings and governors, and all on account of my name. And so you will bear testimony to me. But make up your mind not to worry beforehand how you will defend yourselves. For I will give you words and wisdom that none of your adversaries will be able to resist or contradict. You will be betrayed, even by parents, brothers, sisters, relatives, and friends, and they will put some of you to death. Everyone will hate you because of me. Not a hair of your head will perish. Stand firm, and you will win life. When you see Jerusalem being surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those in the city get out, and let not those in the country enter the city. For this is the time of punishment and fulfillment of all that has been written. How dreadful it will be in the days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. There will be great distress in the land and wrath against this people. They will fall by the sword and will be taken as prisoners to all the nations. Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles are fulfilled. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. People will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. When these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. He told them in a parable, look at the fig tree and all the trees. When they sprout leaves, you can see for yourselves and know that summer is near. Even so, when you see these things happening, you know that the kingdom of God is near. Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Be careful, or your hearts will be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and anxieties of life. And on that day, it will close on you suddenly like a trap, for it will come on all those who live on the face of the earth. But be always on the watch, and pray that you may be able to escape all that is about to happen, and that you may be able to stand before the Son of Man. Each day Jesus was teaching at the temple, and each evening he went out to spend the night on the hill called the Mount of Olives, and all the people came early in the morning to hear him at the temple. And so as we start to approach that time where nation is rising against nation, rumors of wars and wars happening, and all of this stuff, this turmoil, all the stuff that's happening in the Middle East, all of these things can be really scary. But God says, don't be anxious. This is all part of it. And we can have hope in Jesus. You can prep all you want. You can train all you want. But if you don't have hope in Jesus, it's going to feel scary. It's going to be super hopeless. And trust me, I was there. I was there. I was ready with training, shooting, food, preps, and all this other stuff. And it wasn't until this year that I truly understood what it meant to have a relationship with God. A relationship with Jesus. And Jesus is not, super far away and like you are doing a long distance call prayer to him. When you're going through such hard times, when you're going through the rough and thick of it, when you're going through situations that just feel so hopeless, where you have no hope, Jesus is standing there with you. He's standing there in the room, in your car, in your workplace, in your cubicle, wherever you're at. He is in that place with you. And he is standing there waiting for you to turn to him and just talk to him. Just like a parent does with a child, yearning, saying, hey, tell me what's wrong. Because Jesus' heart is broken when your heart is broken. When you are sad, he is sad. And he is mourning with you during your hard times. But he's saying, come to me and I will take off the weight. Come to me and I will give you hope. He will give you the hope and the strength that you need to get through that tough situation. Did you know that if Jesus did not have a storm to calm down, the storm didn't happen because of him. The storm just happened when his disciples were out on the water. But had that not happened, the disciples never would have seen Jesus walk on water or Jesus calm the storm. And when Peter got out of the boat and was focused on Jesus, laser focused, he could walk on water despite the storm raging all around him. And so there are so many people that are going through the storms in their lives. There are so many people, myself included, who are just trying to make it through every day. And if we focus on Jesus, he will help us to walk on water and weather the storm. In Luke chapter 12, verse 22, when it talks about anxiety, something that I hear all the time, something that I'm constantly hearing pop up on social media and in the veteran community and just in general in every community. And Jesus says to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, or what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wild flowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? Me of little faith. And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And when we take that time to prepare our hearts, when we take that time to be capable, God, one of the greatest figures in the Bible that was said to be a man after God's own heart was King David. And he was a warrior to the core. He was a solid warrior. In fact, if you've never heard about David's mighty men, check that out. But, David was a solid warrior, and he had the skills of a fighting man. And God's heart was after that warrior spirit. So continue to stoke that warrior spirit, but also have the gentleness and tenderness of somebody who cares for those who are suffering. If you've never known who Jesus is, but you've always felt like there's a calling, there's always something like in the back of your mind, you're like, I know God's trying to reach out to me, but I don't know, I'm concerned, or I'm not sure. I want to tell you, in Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells this parable. And in this parable, he says, Jesus continued, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me the share of my estate. So he divided his property before them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had and set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. And he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. And when he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And so they began to celebrate. And meanwhile, the older son was in the field, and when he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him, what was going on? Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. And the older brother got angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him? My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And I want to tell you, though, if you are looking for hope and you are looking for comfort, Jesus, who is your father, has been trying to call you home. I have been that prodigal son. I grew up in the church, I was raised in the church, but I did not know what it was to have a relationship with God. In fact, I was that prodigal son that was like, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to go live my own life. and I go and I'm in the city and I'm like, I lose all my hope. I have gone doing my dream job, being in this industry is my dream. But yet still in this dream job, I have been the most depressed I've ever been in my entire life. I've hit rock bottom, just so hopeless and just broken. And it wasn't until this year that I actually just cried out to Jesus and said, I'm tired, I'm coming home to you, and I want a relationship with you. He has just overwhelmed me with love and grace and compassion, just like that father did to the lost son. And he didn't just like berate him and judge him and all this stuff. He had a celebration for him and says, welcome home. And God wants to welcome you home. He wants to welcome, he's been calling for you. He's been yearning to have his warrior son, his warrior daughter come back to him and say, come home to me. I want to reestablish that relationship with you. And he is not here to give you judgment. He is here to give you redemption and to give you hope. And so if you're curious about that, I recommend just reach out to us. Comment on this video. We'd love to pray for you. Reach out to us. Go to team@barrelhandhatchet.com and we'd love to pray for you. We'd love to talk to you and send you a Bible. And also, for my Christian believers out there, my brothers and sisters in God, in Jesus, my charge to you is don't be a closet Christian. Don't be ashamed of the gospel. Be bold. What I have now, and the reason I'm saying this is I have been so changed. My relationship with Jesus has been so impactful for me and changed my life that I just want to tell everybody, because I want everyone to feel this way. I want everyone to experience God's love and how healing it can be and how much hope you can have, even though you're going through the hardest times of your life. And so I'm telling you right now, don't be a closet Christian. God is wanting to use you. If you don't open your mouth and tell the people you love about Jesus, maybe God can't reach them. He's waiting to use you to reach that person. Maybe he's waiting to use you to reach that family member. So don't fall prey. All Satan needs you to do is just be quiet. All Satan needs you to do is just be comfortable. Just stay in the closet. And maybe people will see that you're a Christian based off of how you act. I did that for years, man, and I did not have a relationship with God. But when you start opening your mouth and being obedient, not only are you going to be able to witness God changing other people's lives and healing you, but he will also start to heal your life and fundamentally change your life as well through your obedience. So as we are coming up on times that are hard, as we're coming up on situations where things are hopeless, it's a perfect opportunity for God to be able to show you, I can deliver you from this. I can save you. I can give you hope. You just got to turn to me. So guys, the best thing you could do is open your mouth and talk to the people about the grace and the saving hope of Jesus. Guys, if you get something out of this, share this with a friend. If you do not know who Jesus is and you'd like to know, reach out to us. We'd love to pray for you. But remember, even though hard times are coming, be ready. Hard times are coming. Take action. Hard times are coming. Accept the free hope and love that is readily available. He's in the room waiting for you to talk to him, waiting for you to give that burden that's on your life to him. Guys, we'd love to train with you. We'd love to pray for you during these training sessions and talk to you and fellowship with you. So come train with us. Make sure, though, you guys are just training yourselves, that you're constantly being ready, because we are not promised tomorrow. Spend every moment you can with those that you love, and also witness the love of Jesus Christ to those you love as well. The time is now. We live in an age where action is the most important thing. So train to be the eternal asset. My name is Eric, and I'll see you on the next one. you.